There are certain things you can't change about yourself. Like, yeah, I wish I was 6 foot with baby blue eyes, but I'm not. In particular, your IQ is one of those things you can't change, and children with higher IQ are often given higher academic expectations. Is this a burden or a benefit? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Michael, your podcast host, and today I'm joined with
Jonathan Shiell, and
Mike Wong.
we all attend a highly gifted magnet, or an HGM as we call it. All of us here have an IQ score of above 140, which is 99.6% higher than the average population. We know just as much as anybody else how much grueling, hard work we need to put in to fit in. Do you feel that way, Mike?
For sure. I mean, that's kind of the culture of the magnet in general. Like, the norm has always been straight A's, and anything that isn't an A almost feels like a fail. And I think the peer pressure is
Right.
definitely a part of that, but parental expectations, without a doubt, factor into it as well.
That's a perfect segue into today's discussion. Do parental expectations burden students with high IQ? What do you guys think?
I mean, for me, coming from an Asian family, I feel like there's always been
Right.
this stereotype that Asian parents make their kids do way too much. Like, they put their
Yeah.
kids in the books right out the womb. I mean, my mom had me doing Kumon books when I was 5, so I can definitely relate to that.
Right. It's the Asian standard.
Yeah.
Juggling extracurriculars, rigorous courses, all under like a calm, collected guise, as if to show
hmm
that we aren't really trying. I feel like personally, I owed it to my parents and their hardships to win whatever I was doing.
I mean, in today's society, there's definitely like a negative view that's put on those kinds of parents who push their kids. But
For
for
sure.
me, looking back on it, it's
Mhm.
definitely paid off. Like, sure, there were some days where I had to give up an hour of screen time or whatever to do my Kumon. But since then, it's just gotten me that much further ahead of the general population at school. And I'm always going to be
Mhm.
grateful for that.
Okay. So, Johnny, do you feel like you've had a significant burden from your parents to succeed?
Well, my dad's an attorney, and I kind of knew from early on that I also want to be one. So, obviously,
Okay.
there are in place certain expectations.
Right.
I think I've noticed that there is added pressure at times to legacies
Yeah.
where, parents went to a prestigious school and kind of expect their kids to follow in their footsteps.
For sure, I could really relate to that. I mean, my dad went to Yale and he started from zero, like absolutely nothing. But he worked hard, and that hard work ethic that he
Mm.
practiced completely changed his life. So my view is like, if he could do
Right.
it, then I should be expected to do so as well, considering how many more opportunities I've been gifted compared to how hard he had it when he was growing up.
That's a good point.
Now, the parental mindset of wanting to help their kids out is definitely noble. However, as multiple studies suggest, it can definitely be detrimental in some cases. Now, to help us answer this question, we brought in Dr. Mark Burdick, PhD, the former president of the California Association of Educational Psychologists, and a former chair of the State of California Board of Behavioral Sciences. Based on your experience, how do parental expectations affect children's mental health and academic performance, particularly in high-pressure academic environments?
Terribly. It's the parental expectation. Whenever a parent looks at their child, they see themselves, right? So they look at the child and they say, okay, well, how come, Mark or Johnny or whoever it is not living up to my expectations, right? So that's what's going on with this parental expectation thing. But the parents, when they put on their own expectations about mental health and academic achievement, they look to strive for excellence. They may be unrealistic. They're overly demanding in their expectations, and that leads to stress, anxiety, and other conditions.
That's a good point, but I also found this study from the Education Resources Information Center. And that one stated that parental pressure and involvement is actually crucial for their child's success. And my personal experiences definitely align with that. Like, if it weren't for the guidance of my parents through my academics, I know my future would be a lot more bleak than it is now.
I mean, I think it's a common misconception from a lot of parents that children with higher IQ are somehow more innately likely to succeed, which definitely leads to the burdens that we've mentioned. But also, because that belief allows us to take courses with more rigor, we are inevitably given more opportunities to succeed,
Yeah.
kind of like a placebo.
I mean, it definitely can be rough at some points, but at some point, you just got to realize that you're never going to be successful in life unless you put in the work. Or
Right.
maybe if your grandparents were millionaires, then sure, but if not, you got to go through that burden at some point if you want to make it successful in life.
Okay, how about we come to a vote then? Burden or benefit?
Burden, definitely.
I would say benefit.
Okay, so I guess I'm the tiebreaker, and I believe we've come to a decision. Students that exhibit higher cognitive function, or IQ, are more likely to be benefited from parental ambitions than they are to be burdened.